Hey guys, Jared again, Xtreme Pursuit Outdoors. Got my Proline bowstrings in the mail today. Got my Hoyt, so let's get to work. All right, before I start, I'm going to show you some of the tools I'm going to be using today. I've got a Bowmaster portable bow press with the split limb adapters. And for a do-it-yourself person at home, you know, if you have a little bench or something where you can work, this little Bowmaster press is worth its weight in gold. I mean, I've changed so many strings using that. It's cheap, it's portable, take it with you on your hunting trips in case you need to do an emergency repair. I got that. I got some pliers, scissors, lighter, tape measure, D-loop material, serving material, new kisser button, and obviously my new black and orange strings. Alright, before we actually get started pressing the bow and getting the strings changed and all that, you're going to want to take a few measurements and eyeball a couple things with your rest so you get a reference point to go by when you install the new string and put the D-loop on and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and knock an arrow and just take a look at how the arrow is sitting on the rest. If your bow's tuned and you're pretty happy with the way it's been shooting, take a look at it, compare how it sits with the shelf, you know, if it's level, if it's parallel with the shelf, or if it's down a little bit. As in my case, it's pointing down a little bit. It's just where the bow tuned. So you want to take a look at that, and you're also going to want to take a little tape measure, measure from the top of the D-loop to the kisser button, and the top of the D-loop to my peep sight, and write that all down because it's important that you get that back in the same spot. It just makes the setup go a lot faster and easier. Alright, and while we're measuring, you're going to want to measure from the top axle. I like to hold it on one so I can get it more precise. And measure to your bottom axle, the very center of it. And that is your axle to axle length. This bow is approximately 32 inches, so you want to measure that, make sure that's good. You're going to want to measure the brace height, which is from the deepest part of the handle back to the string. Measure that and write that down. Alright, so I've got all my measurements written down. Now it's a matter of putting the press on the bow, and I like to do one at a time. Take the string off on one end, put the new one on, and then just work my way around. Just reverse it. You take one off, you put the other back on. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on that because it just takes a little bit of experience just doing it. But I'm going to do a little time lapse for you, and I think that'll be pretty cool to watch it all go on really fast. I've got all the strings put on, everything went pretty smooth, and I'm going to move on to start tweaking and twisting a few things to get the bow into spec and get the cams timed. So what I like to start off with is this top cam where the cable splits. That's the yoke, and if you're shooting a right-handed bow, what I like to do is on this right side right here, put several twists in that to counter the torque created by the cable rod. Because what happens is if you don't adjust this at full draw, this cam is going to lean, and if you're trying to shoot fixed blade broadheads, that can wreak havoc on your tuning, as if your top cam is leaning one way or the other. So the way to check that is to take an arrow shaft, hold it right up against the cam, right on the flat part, and it should lay right along the string. As you can see, that's pretty much perfect. I've already adjusted it to where it twists up. And I can move it to the other side of the cam and it lays right there without hitting the string at all. So that means there's no torque in that top cam. It's perfectly straight. At full draw it'll be perfectly straight, and you're going to get a lot better arrow flight for your broadheads. But if it's leaning one way or the other, you know, it's pretty simple. There's just one cable on each side that go to the axles. Just take a twist in, or put a twist in, take one out on the other side, and, you know, just mess with it until you can get that arrow to lay parallel on there. And a lot of people really overlook that, and I found that it's pretty important to get that dead on for optimal broadhead flight. Alright, now for the peep sight, you're going to want to take your ruler and always measure from the inside knot on the D-loop, you know, on the top. And I need 5 7/8. I just got a Sharpie. I just marked a little spot right on the side. And now we're going to need to press it and split these two colors in half so we can get our peep sight in there. And while I'm at it, while I've got it in the press, I'm going to go ahead and put my string silencers in. Alright, so I've got the bow back in the Bowmaster press, and there's several ways to tie in these peep sights. And the way I do it is I like to press it so there's some slack in the string so I can get the knots, you know, so I can get that string to close in good on it. But a lot of people serve it up here and then go around the peep sight and then serve it back down here. I just tie on the top and on the bottom. Just like we did on the top of the D-loop, I do alternating overhand knots and then tie it off with a square knot. And for extra security, I don't even do it. You can tie around the peep sight, around that groove, and do it that way. I mean, I've never had one come loose doing it this way. It's simple to tie, so I just kind of started doing it this way, and that's just how I've done it. Let's see. Alright, so what you want to do is just take about a 3 or 4 foot piece of serving material and go ahead and start tying your knots. Now at first you're not gonna be able to get them real tight just because they won't stay, but as you get started here, you go ahead and get 2 or 3 on each side. You can see they just kind of stack on top of each other, then start tightening them down as you go. There's definitely other ways to do this. Like I said, this is just the way I've always done it, and I've never had a problem with it moving or the peep sight flying out or anything like that. If I can get a hold of it. Once you start to get a few knots, I mean, you can really start tightening these things down really good. Actually, I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and finish it off with a square knot. Alright, now we move on to the bottom. And we just repeat the process. Just try to get the same amount on the bottom that you have on the top. And the reason I like tying it this way is because if you need to move your peep sight, or you need to take it out, or you want to change sizes or whatever, you can still take it out, but while you're shooting or hunting, it's not going to come out of there. Alright, and this should be the last set right here. Let's go ahead and just get it pretty tight. Just go ahead with our square knot there and just pull it. I mean, I can actually feel the serving stretching, so just tighten the top and the bottom. That's what it looks like right there. It's nice and neat, holds it in there good. Alright, so let's see. Alright, for burning these knots, I like to have a little bit of protection on the bowstring from the lighter, and that's what I use this tinfoil for. Now, this isn't necessary, but I just spent $85 on these bowstrings, and I do not want to burn them up. Alright, there's the bottom. Go ahead and move up here to the top. If you're better with a lighter than I am, you really don't have to do this, but like I said, $85 isn't cheap to me. As you can see, if you get it lit on fire, it'll melt right down. Just let it burn all the way down and then push it down with your finger. Alright, so we got the job done. New Proline bowstrings on. Look real good. Went right on, no problems. Bow went right into spec. All the measurements are dead on. Got our D-loop on. Our peep sight, all of our string silencers. It's ready to go. All you gotta do now is shoot some broadheads out of it and see how it tunes, but I got a few more little tweaks I'm gonna do, but the big thing that I didn't really show you on camera is I synced these cams by twisting the cable. This is a Hoyt Turbo Hawk with the XTR cams on it. It's a dual cam, so you have to synchronize the cams to where they both rotate at the same time. And to get a really good solid back wall whenever you're at full draw, it's really important to get those cams synced up. And I didn't really cover that because there's so many different cam systems out there, and it's really bow dependent on if you need to do that. Most single cam bows you don't have to do that, but bows like this, you know, the dual cam, you definitely have to sync those. But if you have any questions about doing any of this, don't hesitate to send me an email or a message, or hit me up, because I'm more than willing to help you guys out.